Hi, sorry. I have put everybody on mute. If you can unmute yourself and ask a question at any point. I see some familiar faces. Some of you have attended my webinars before. So you know I always like engaging questions. So please absolutely ask questions along the way. I will be really very happy to answer them along the way or at the end. We will have definite time at the end to ask questions. Okay. Cool. So very quickly, let me begin with a very quick poll. I will give people like 20 seconds to answer the poll, and then we'll kick off the webinar. I'm assuming you can see the screen and everybody can see my screen at the minute. So just a second. That question and the options are there. Okay, there we go. So while I let people in, I have basically requested yes, perfect lobby. We have got a few people in the lobby. Let's look at the poll. How's the poll coming along? So, okay, this is good. We've got 40% novice, 30% intermediate, 30% basically, okay, it's changing. Good. I would request everybody to try and answer the basically, live poll. If you can't see the poll, let me know. And welcome to all the people who just joined. There's a poll going around. If you can answer, that will be much appreciated. I have 8 responses and we have basically 21 attendees. I can't see the poll. Okay. I'm going to try and send this poll out again. Launch. I've sent it out again. Let's see if people can see it now. Okay, there we go. We're getting more responses. Good. Okay, so while you guys respond to this, let me just dive right in. I think we've got, we are 5 minutes up, so I'm assuming we are all here. So first of all, who is Akshar Business Consulting? We are basically a finance and especially FP&A transformation business focused on BI and CPM solutioning for the FP&A and finance function at large. Okay, where do we come from? We've come from basically a world of experience in quite reasonably sized MNCs. Where we've got experience of delivering solutions like driver-based budgeting and Anaplan and Power BI and a whole lot more. So that's process improvement and things like that. So that's where we come from. Okay. And why do we do this and why do we exist? What is the problem for the businesses that we are trying to solve today? The business problem that we are trying to solve today are basically, we believe that businesses tend to have a lot of vertical siloed technology. Okay, that is to me the problem statement of businesses in terms of basically because they have got siloed solutions and technology, they struggle to then bring it together and basically, ask and solve answers, right? Or do intelligent analytics, because even simple things like a customer name or a simple thing like, product name is different in a CRM as compared to a ERP on an invoice, and is different in, project systems and things like that, for example, in other systems. So that then makes it very challenging and time consuming for businesses to have any make any insightful use of the data. Where is this a problem for finance? Is because finance is spearheading and actually owns the best quality or integrity of data, right? Because your ERP data has got audit around it and has got integrity around it. Therefore, people expect finance to provide insight that, okay, how is our revenue doing? How are we looking like for next quarter or things like that? But finance struggles. Frankly, finance struggles because the reality is that they're stuck with Excel book after Excel book. And therefore, they struggle to bring all of that data together. And then they're doing VLOOKUP after VLOOKUP, SUMIF after SUMIF to try and make sense of it. Okay, so that is the why we exist and why as a business. And what we try to bring in is basically solutions around bringing data together in a cloud-based solution, building BI, which is the session for today, right? Power BI, and implement CPM, EPM solutions, which actually work as a performance management tool rather than just a forecasting or a financial forecasting tool, right? With driver-based budgeting and things like that. So that's what we do as a business. And that's the problem that we are trying to solve for businesses and for finance functions in particular. That's where our heart lies. Okay. And we can we can produce, performance-based management, driver-based budgeting, scenario planning, all the what we read on LinkedIn, right? All of us have a lot of you have come from LinkedIn. So where we have all read this on LinkedIn, we like it in our businesses, but we struggle. And that's the dream that we would like to turn into reality if we can. Okay. So what are we going to, so who is this today's workshop or webinar for? It is for finance professionals, business owners, managers, anybody who is interested in making finance smarter and, adding value with insightful information to businesses. That's who this webinar or workshop is for. People who have missed today, or if you want a recap of this, this will be recorded. Actually, this should be recorded. I forgot. It is being recorded today, and it will be put up on our website as well for you to be able to access at your convenience. So you can go back and revisit some of the conversations that we are going to have today. Okay, the agenda for today is basically Power BI with Excel. This is one thing which I know most people are very curious about. So that's the first thing which I will cover. Second, then we will cover row level security of how do you put security around Power BI, because one of the questions I regularly get asked is, oh, we don't want to share our financial budget between departments or between geographies, or I don't want the sales reps to know each other's targets or their commissions, or I don't want salary information to, get out in the open. So there are security protocols that you can put within Power BI, and I assure you they are better than Excel, because in Excel you could put as many passwords as you like. I have cracked those in the past, and trust me, there are people out there who will crack it. So Excel password protection with salary information is actually a very poor practice, and doing something like a row level security with CPM and Power BI tools is better. Okay, we will then briefly look at Power BI services in terms of how you can share your dashboards with other people. How can you create environments in which you can work together with collaborate with other people within your teams globally. And then we'll quickly cover visualization. I mean, frankly and respectfully, but I'm not going to go too much into visualization, only because it's about when do you use a bar chart versus a KPI card and things like that. But there are still a couple of things which specific to Power BI we have experience on, which I would like to share with the larger group today. So without further ado, I would like to start. Excel and Power BI, right? Power BI and Excel both are children of the same Microsoft family, and therefore they are definitely, there is a brotherhood there. They definitely work with one another. Excel can work as a data source. Okay, so I will show you in a live demo as well. Excel works as a data source. Most common way how I know that people have basically imported data into basically Power BI is they go get data, Excel, and then they import it, or a CSV and they import it. It shouldn't be done. Okay. This is not recommended, because that means every time you have to do it manually. First problem, right? The whole idea of implementing something like Power BI is to make more automated reports. So doing it via Excel means you're making it manual. It almost defeats the purpose. I always laugh when I see that. Okay. Second is basically that means it needs to be downloaded. The files need to be downloaded to somebody's laptop or somebody on the server and then uploaded, which is still a manual step. It can be automated using Power Automate, but I think frankly that is over engineering. There is better ways to do that. Then if you do it via server or a shared folders, then you need a personal gateway to be able to refresh it. So I've had instances where clients have done that, and then their laptops need to be left all day for Power BI to refresh all day, or you need a virtual computer to be able to do stuff like that. Honestly, just not recommended. Yes, it is doable. Yes, it is very good when you are learning. So the biggest advantage of doing Excel inputs into Power BI, you should use it when you are learning more about Power BI, learning about data analytics. But when it comes to an enterprise level solution, I would strongly recommend against it. Okay. Then the question I get asked is, what are my options? These are your options. Okay. First option always is going to be establish a direct connection. Power BI connects to your Oracle, to your SAP, to your basically to Microsoft Dynamics, to most servers, HubSpot, to QuickBooks. So it connects to a lot of stuff. So hence, basically, direct connection is absolute ideal. That's one. Second level after that, establish a data warehouse or a data lake for a business. That is always a good thing to do. That is again best practice, because again, as I went out in the previous slide, right? If you change your ERP, you will lose your data. But if you have put your data in a data lake or a data warehouse, your data is always there. I have taken QuickBooks out, I've put Navision. I've taken Navision out, I've put in Business Central. Don't care. Frankly, don't care. If this keeps changing, if your data is there, it's still there. It's never going to get lost. Just because you took this out, it doesn't mean this will get lost. So this is therefore best practice from a long-term perspective, right? As a finance leader, you need to look at beyond 6 months. And beyond 6 months, if you look at a 3 or 5 year horizon for your business, this is best practice. Okay, anybody has questions? Are slides not moving for people? Siddharth, thank you for pointing that out. Are slides moving for others? A thumbs up, thumbs down, something? Moving for me. Okay. Yes, Deepak. Please go right ahead. Unmute yourself and ask a question. You can always ask a question. You can unmute yourself. Deepak, you have a question? You have your hand up. Are you trying to ask something?
Sorry, just saying that the slides are working for me.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Then maybe it is just your particular basically system. I apologize. Sometimes people's internet is slow, then it does get stuck on your internet. So sorry if it is not moving for you, but you can again refer to this on the recording. So where was I? Yeah. So therefore, data lake is the best option. You can then also set up data flow. So when you still have your budgeting, forecasting, quarterly budget still in Excel, and you have not moved to a CPM solution, maybe you can copy paste that into a data flow and store it there. I'll again should walk this through with you today. And if it is a simple reference table, then you can maybe copy paste it into Power BI directly as well. Power BI gives you that option as well. So there are other options to work around it and not get stuck on the CSV Excel element of it. That's the way I'd look at it. Okay, so definitely consider options before you get stuck to this. So before I go further for my next slide and show you the next steps, I want to show you what I've talked about already. Okay, so most people tend to do this. And yes, can you see Power BI? So most people tend to go here, go get data and use Excel like that. Okay, and get Excel from there. This is what I'm saying you shouldn't do. You should do basically direct connector for all the systems that you can have, right? Wherever you can possibly do it. For example, there is I think there is HubSpot here as well. I have looked at it. There is GitHub, there is QuickBooks, there is, Dynamics, there is a lot of stuff, and most of your servers are there. So that is not a problem. You see, SAP is also there. I think SAP for HANA and stuff like that is there. So using these directly would be a much more advisable option. This is your direct connector, or using a server are your best two options. Like Oracle database, you can see there's a lot of connectors in there. So using one of them would be the best option. After that, what I highlighted in the list, let's go through the list so that I don't miss pointing something out. Cancel this, minimize that. Yeah, set up a data flow. So data flow, this is Microsoft Power BI services environment, okay, which we are going to cover further along the down the line as well. But basically here, when I go to workspaces and I say sample reports, okay, I can basically create a data flow, as you can see there. Okay, I can click on that. And this means basically Power BI services online will go to your data source and bring it in. Okay, I would all do it. If you have your data in Excel, like your budget in Excel or your forecast in Excel, and you want to just bring that across, the best way to do is what I just did, follow the same path. Okay, and then do Power BI data flow. No, not this one. Go back. And then that's okay. Cancel. And then basically add a table using Excel over here as well. You've got an Excel workbook format here. You can use a data flow there. Okay, you can even browse and drop your file here directly to see, and it will tell you what to do with it. So there is a lot of options from that perspective. I'd say do any of this except going into Power BI and doing basically, and instead of getting data from here, essential. This is one thing I would not recommend. Okay. What else did I have on my PowerPoint? I had something else, which was, yeah, input data in the Power BI directly as well, right? So yes, somebody has a question?
Tejas, you
Yes.
just said that you can't use the getting data from the OneView tab that you used and say Excel or CSV or any file. Why you're not recommending that?
No, I am saying Excel or CSV only, because that means your data from your source system. So for example, you've got Zero as a system, then you have to export from Zero into a CSV manually, and then from CSV needs to go into Power BI manually. So that defeats the whole purpose of doing a technology like this is to make it more automated, right? You are adding manual steps to the process.
Okay.
Whereas if you take Zero and connect it to a SQL server, which is what we are delivering for a client at the minute. So we are connecting the Zero to basically a cloud-based solution, which will go and pick up data from Zero directly every 3 hours. And then Power BI will be fed by basically that intermediary cloud solution, cloud data warehouse every 3 hours as well. No human involved. So the CFO could go on holiday. I could go on. Everybody could go on holiday. It will still keep working. That's the whole purpose of doing this.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
So that's what it is.
Thank you.
And so going back to Power BI, yes, I said you can manually enter data into Power BI. Can you see that? You can enter data into Power BI. It's not complicated. I can literally press this. There you go. It's rows and columns. I can add data, call the table. I can call this table as monkey, and I have column ABC, PQR, okay, and say okay, and you will have a table over there in a second. It's literally as simple as that. So if you have certain data which you want to do it like that, that's what you should be doing. You should be adding data over here and bring the data like that if it is a small set of data, instead of trying to, yeah, it's loading the monkey. Load monkey. So it's loading the monkey. And so instead of trying to bring data in manually, all I am saying basically is I'm going to quote Microsoft. I think it was said by Bill Gates, that I'll give the laziest person the toughest job. He will find the easiest way to do it. I am the laziest person. I don't want to increase manual jobs if I can. There you go. Monkey, ABC and PQR. How many seconds did that take? And now it's always there. It's never going to get lost. Think of it that way. Sorry, I'm going to delete that. That's one of our models. So these are the 4 options I gave you. I've shown you the 4 options that you can use instead of sticking to Excel and getting data from Excel. Again, for practice and for learning, I am not saying don't use CSV import or Excel import. That's how I started learning Power BI 4 years back as well. But when it comes to enterprise level solutioning, don't do it like that. That's what I'm trying to say. Somebody has a question. Yes, Dharan, go right ahead. Fire away. Unmute yourself and fire away, please, if you have a question.
Yeah, my question was more just on, I saw you said for data flows, you go into the online service and then go from there rather than using the actual Power BI model to upload the data. What's the difference between them both?
So, okay, very, very good question. So data flow means in data flow, I've got 2 options. I can connect the data flow to a bunch of online cloud platforms, or I can put my Excel book essentially in that data flow. If I put my Excel book in data flow, then it is not on my laptop. Therefore, the refreshing of Power BI can still happen from cloud to cloud, as opposed to cloud to desktop or cloud to a server, which is what I'm trying to say is the best practice. Because if you involve basically manual steps, it becomes a problem. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, so is it more of if you're doing budget and forecasts, then once you've completed it, you'd put it into the cloud service, and then no one's ever needing to go back to your desktop to link to it. So it's always there.
Exactly. You're not supposed to change your budget every month or every day, are you? So your budget is done. Lock it, put it up, done.
Got you. Thanks.
Again, therefore, in my previous slide, I did recommend that use a proper CPM solution, which means that you don't even have to do that. So we work with Anaplan, we work with basically, BizView, with Profix, with Vena, with corporate planning. We work with so many different CPMs. All of them go into Power BI cloud to cloud. Okay. So that again is the best practice. But if the business is not matured enough, they're still doing their modeling in Excel, not a problem. Second best practice, take your Excel and put it in the data flow. So at least it is logged. Nobody by error has, changed the number on your Excel book. Think of it that way as well. Like that has never happened before, right? Nobody deleted your Excel book or nobody changed numbers in the Excel book unknowingly. Whereas if you copy paste and put it into Power BI services, it's logged. Nobody can get to it, and there's security around it. So there are multiple advantages of doing that. Okay, so if we now move to Power BI for analytics, okay, Excel for analytics using Power BI. Okay, it is very easy to use. Okay, it combines data. So your Excel, your Power BI can have 10 million. I have had customers. I'm working with Xerox. I've worked with, basically Cinemedia. Businesses have got 10 million lines, 15 million lines. Excel is never going to cope. So what we do, we put that data, do the model, dashboards, everything in Power BI, and then bring Power Pivots down into Excel. So Excel is now holding data which is worth 15 million lines, but it doesn't have 15 million lines. Obviously, Excel will die. I don't know if anybody has experienced this. If you put more than 200 or 300 lines, Excel starts crying. Though technically you can put a million lines, but realistically, anything more than 200 or 300 lines, it'll start crying. And yes, I know people on here, there are people who have said they're advanced, so they might know Power Query in Excel and they will say, Tejas, we can use Power Query in Excel. Yes, it's not shareable very easily. To work 5 people in that Excel book and then suddenly it'll start crashing on you. 50 people on Power BI together, it will never crash on you. So, okay, there is no loss. There is no, if you bring data down, though, from Power BI into Excel, one of the biggest criticisms I find, if I do basically a pivot table, it's fine. It's still live, but anything else, there is no complete loss of integrity of data. Okay, because by error, somebody's typed something in, by error, my kid was playing and he landed up making 1,000 into 1 million and I have a problem. So there is a risk of bringing data into Excel. There is a data integrity question you should always look at. And there is live data if you just export it to Excel. Okay, the better way to do it is use a Power Pivot connection, which is what is my favorite. I will show you this, what this means right now live. Okay, and the other one is cube formulae. Again, I will go into that. It is not very complicated or as complicated as people make it out to be. It is actually pretty straightforward in my world. Okay, so if you were to take data from Power BI back into Excel for analysis, don't export to Excel. Absolutely worst practice. I would strongly discourage that. Power Pivot, yes, is in my world the best practice because it's still live connected. I can refresh it and things like that. And cube formulae is second best practice when you are building static board dashboards or things like that. Then cube formulae helps because you can format it nicely, make it look pretty, and still be connected live to Power BI. And I'll show you right now how. Okay, so let's go through these two elements, which are my recommended ways of using Power BI with Excel in terms of doing analytics. Okay, I have an Excel book open over here. Let me bring it over here. This is the wrong profile. I don't want this one. I want this one. Okay, so I am going to insert Power Pivot Table from Power BI because I have got access to Power BI. It will show me all the Power BI data sets I have access to in a minute. And this is live, so you can see how much drag there is or whatever, right? It is a full experience. So yeah, so this is the one I will use, finance data. This is the same dashboard that you're looking at in this one. This is finance data. Just that this one is published in the cloud. So I'm getting data from the cloud onto my Excel book. Yeah, it is now asking me who I am. I am. Sorry, it's doing extra security just because basically I have got too many Microsoft licenses, so I apologize. You might not have this issue if you do this on your work laptop. Sorry, I have to now put in my password. I apologize for this one. But again, as I said, this is the full experience, so you get to see everything. And there we go. So I'm trying to get my password. Seriously. This is my password. Let's see if it likes me now. Yeah, it likes me. So it's got me here. Yeah, there you go. So these are my measures. These are my amounts. And so these measures is basically my calculations, total actuals. For example, I bring it into values. I then have basically, I want say accounts, and then I want basically months, right? And then I want organizations. Scenario is a filter. I can't have all scenarios. I want actuals and time context. I want MTD, QTD, YTD, MTD. Is this the right measure to use? So this is starting to give me this. Let me see what measures do we have over here. Measure to use is calc measure total actuals. Okay. I need a PNL, dim header PNL. Headers. So dim headers, header. That's the one I need. There we go. And then let's bring total actuals back in there. There we go. Let's take the organization out and let's take the account out. There you go. So now I suddenly have a PNL which starts to look like something like a PNL. Okay. And does that kind of make sense? And this is just me doing a very simple thing. Now I can then break it up by organization. Where is my organization going? So I can look at different organizations. I can look at, what is North America doing, for example, what is Canadian division doing, or things like that, right? I can then look at actual versus budget. I want to look at budget for them. I can do that. I can obviously then put this here like this. So I can have every month budget and actual variance like that. It's not very complicated. You can start doing analytics at a click. Does that kind of make sense? Am I making sense? Yes, no, there's the option of thumbs up. You can do thumbs up if you like. What's the difference between getting data from Power BI model versus using online platform? There is no difference. When I say Power BI model, I mean an online model. I am not going to the desktop version. The desktop version gets published online using this publish, which is what I talked about last time. And then basically you get what you get online is this. So I'm going to close this whole thing and go back to my workspace. Close. Oh man, being a bit slow. Sample reports. Being a bit slow. You have answered this question already. Okay, but okay, cool. I'm trying to going to try and close this. If this doesn't like it, then I will close this session and then going to reopen basically my workspace here. Not very complicated. There. So when you see a model, this is the model. So this is a model. That's a report. Let's go back. So you've got now this. Okay, so you can do funky stuff like this. It takes a matter of seconds, as you saw. It took us what, like 2 or 3 minutes to build a pivot table. Now imagine if I had customer, I don't have customer data here, but say if I had a customer data there, I could break it up by customer, or I could break it up by, you know, whatever else that I need to break it up by product, by customer, by, you know, by price range, or, you know, all those kind of things. You can do it matter of seconds. I'm sure most of everybody here is a finance professional. They know the power of a pivot table. So this then starts helping you with that. So this was my second recommended basically item on my list. I'm going to bring my deck here because I don't have a lot of slides. Today's presentation has got very little slides. So this is my Power Pivot connection, which I spoke about. I've shown you this. This is called a Power Pivot because it's got multiple tables in it. This is finance data table. This is your scenario table. This is your organization table. So it's got multiple tables in it. Therefore, it's called a Power Pivot. Okay. Now the question is, my third point, which I had made in the last point, was basically cube formulae. This is a trade secret. I shouldn't really be talking about it like this, but I will because, you know, I believe in sharing knowledge. If I think there's still value to be added by consultants like us. So if I stick on this, go to Pivot Table Analyzer, go to OLAP and go and say convert to formulae, and I convert report filters. Yeah, actually convert report filters as well. And then we'll make fun. We'll have some fun. Okay, so let it convert and see what is going to happen. So now your pivot table is gone. So that means I can now insert a column over here. Okay, you obviously cannot do that in a pivot table. Most of you will know that, right? I can do formatting. I can make it look pretty, you know, for your board board deck or things like that. I can do stuff like this, which is really interesting, right? Make it look, put colors here, whatever else, right? Things like that. And then, okay, Tejas, but now I've lost my data. This is not connected. No, it is connected. It's going to the finance data model. Based on these dimensions is getting me the output. So what does that mean? That means, if you remember, we used the Canadian division. Okay, I want to change it to Southeast. Yeah. It needs a refresh. Sorry. It will need a refresh. Come on, my friend, you can do this. So I can go to queries and connections and I can basically refresh this, and that will refresh my data and bring the data down. And the division doesn't have numbers. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try Northeast division. I don't know which division I got numbers. In principle, it should work. Now at the minute, I don't know why this is being a bit funny, but this is now just being a bit funny. Sometimes it doesn't. I think it is to do with my Azure connection, because my Azure connection is being a bit funny. So what this is how a cube formula essentially starts to work. And yes, clearly you can have issues like this, which I'm having today. I don't know why it doesn't like me, but apparently it doesn't. Is my calculation sunshine? So yeah, so there is stuff like that that you can do, but it is a bit temperamental. That is why again you should prefer using basically online. Yes, Hector. I think it's missing the month. That's the problem in the minute. Yes, Hector. You had a question. Go right ahead. Mate, you're on mute, so you need to unmute yourself. Yes. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us from the US.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So awesome. This is great. How did you? Can you just repeat how you went from a pivot format to this layout where we could manipulate information? Because that's pretty cool. This is something that I did not know how to do. Thank you.
I am undoing everything that I've just done, and then we can go back to it. But yeah, as you could see, right, the Q formula can be a bit temperamental, as mine was being temperamental. So yes, it can be a bit temperamental. So this is what I've got. I went to basically pivot table analyze. Okay, and then I went to OLAP tools. Okay, and then convert to basically formula. And then it'll ask me, do I convert the filters as well? You know what? I'm going to leave the filters on. Let me see if will that help me not lose my data. So now if I change this, can I change this? Does it not correct? Northwest. Ah, there you go. It likes it better. I know, I swear I can convert the filter as well, and I have used it. I have delivered this to clients. At the minute it's being a bit funky, but yeah. And Hector, again, this is on record, so you can go to the website and look at the recording as many times as you like if you're trying to do this in real life.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. So this now see, now I'm dancing. This is all Excel, right? So I can now, I know, sorry. So I can now reformat this. I can do the, this is not a pivot table anymore. This is just a normal Excel. And I can make this budget into say actuals, for example. Yes, I will post on the website afterwards, 100%. It will be there. That's the purpose of this, right? Okay. So there you go. People who've joined halfway as well, you can catch up the first half basically like this. So this is why I love Power BI and Excel as a wedding, because the Power Pivot helps me basically do analytics at a click of a button. And I have sat in board meetings and I've done analytics like that. And it is fun when you can give answers to people like this. What is the average selling price of this product for this customer in this year or this quarter? And you're giving them answers like live. And they're like, how the hell is this guy doing this? They have no idea, but there is magic behind it. So it is really, really powerful. It helps you answer your board questions very, very efficiently. So we've covered Power Pivot and we've covered Cube Formula is much more around board dashboards, board decks or sales packs or things like that, where you're going to distribute that to people. Then it is much better. It is not generally for analytics. I don't use it for analytics, and I wouldn't recommend anybody to use it for analytics. Okay. So we've spent a lot of time on Excel and Power BI, but if I go back to the agenda also has row level security. So let's talk quickly about row level security. So this is anybody has any questions so far? Can I go to row level security? Is everybody okay with it so far? Kind of, yes. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Row level security. So Power BI has security in it, which means that I can create roles. Okay. What does that mean? I can create a new role called corporate, for example. So corporate finance, which will have access to everything. Okay. I can then create basically, for example, in my organization, which we are looking at over here, I've got parent organization called US operations. So US operation guys should only look at this, nothing more than that. I don't want them to look at this stuff. So I can say, call it even here, USA ops. Okay. And just like what you would do, basically, parent organization equals to US operations. So like in Excel, you know what, when you in Excel, you do a filter on your large data set and then you only see that much data. Literally, that is row level security. What this will do when somebody in this group logs in, I have to allocate people to this group in the online services. I'll show you in a minute. When I allocate people to this group, when they log in with their username password of their Microsoft username password, they can only see stuff which is under this parent organization. They cannot see anything else. And that is, again, I think very, very beautiful. Now, this is, I'm talking from an organization perspective, but you could have a cost center perspective. You could have a department perspective. You could have, a crossover of geography and department and say, only US HR should see this, but US finance can see that or whatever else. So there is a lot of permutation combinations you can create over here because you can add more stuff. You see, so I can then have, organization and I can have further filters on that. So I can actually create a whole variety of stuff in it and therefore be able to restrict the amount of data I want people to see or people to have access to if there is confidential data, especially when you're talking about salaries or stuff like that. Okay, or even sales and commissions or pipeline, right? I want people to not look at the entire CPM, my entire CRM portfolio. I want them to only look at certain bits and pieces. You can actually filter that over here, create roles, and then allocate people to these roles. Okay, that way you are in complete control. There is no, and again, if people go, you just change the email address in that role. That role is still there. Okay, so it's not like it requires high amount of maintenance. You just have to give access and take away access, which is you will have to do anyways, like most stuff. Does that make sense to people? So this is your row level security because this will filter the data, right? This literally goes to the data set and filters it out. And only shows you if you are allowed to see that data. Okay. So that is, and then on online services, how do you implement that? So in this one, I can go into the security. And if I had basically row level seat, says row level security moved to Power BI. So once I create the roles here, the roles will appear here and I can then add email addresses to that. That's the point. So I can say Kanu will have access to US, but I don't know. Tejas will have access to only Asia Pacific, for example. And therefore you can manage that way. Gives you complete control of who sees your data set. And when I log in, then I won't even see these all options. I will only see US operations. And when Kanu logs in, he can only see US operations. When I log in, I can only see European operations or Pacific operations or things like that. There is a full control around it. Okay. Power BI services is the third topic on the agenda. So this is again interesting. We all have in Power BI, even if you don't have a pro license or any sort of license, you always have My Workspace. Okay, so any of you log in today, you will only see My Workspace. Okay. When you have a corporate, basically enterprise level, basically where you can again do import data, deploy models, have reports, things like that, but you can't share this. So this is a limitation. My Workspace is for you. Okay, it's like your My Documents on your laptop. It's not for sharing. Okay, other people don't have access to it. Same way, My Workspace is like your My Documents, other people don't have access to it. For a business to deploy Power BI, they need to buy at least pro licenses, which are like £7.50 per head per month. And then you can make a workspace. So I can make a workspace like this. Okay, I'm going to just call this trial demo workspace. Okay, and apply. And then the workspace will be created. I can then give people access to that workspace. And again, there is different levels of access I can give them. So for example, if I want to give it this to Dishan, right? Dishan is here. So Dishan, okay, I want to give it to Gaurav. There. So I can give it to people, okay, and they're all being given viewer access. I can give them viewer access, contributor access. Viewer access means they can only see the dashboard, they can't do anything. This is not recommended. Contributor access is basically where they can at least use the slicers and use the stuff. So I said that's minimal. Member is when they can, share with other people and admin is where they can manage, delete stuff. So this should be very restricted. This is the highest use, and this is somewhere where you are in a managerial position and you want to share it with other people, then you give them member level access. Okay, so this is your Power BI services at very, very high level. There's a lot of other stuff you can do with Power BI services. Trust me, this is like a drop in the ocean, but gives you a starting point. Okay, you can again have workspace setting. There's a lot of settings you can control or share with people. Kanu, did you have a question? No? Good.
No.
Okay. So this is your Power BI workspace, which kind of gives you a lot of options to cover. And then last but not the least is visualization. Obviously, you do all of this for visualization. The whole purpose of doing this is not to have to look at rows and rows and columns of data, but to actually be able to visualize stuff. So yes, basically Power BI gives you, now it has changed again, right? Yeah, there it is. So Power BI gives you bars and columns, lines, chart. This is all pretty much standard stuff. It has a map stuff, which is pretty exciting, though it works in respectfully, but major countries only like US, Canada, Europe, UK, places like that. It works. If you go like Afghanistan, for example, then it becomes is less accurate. You need to have latitude, longitude data in your data set for you to be able to use some of that. Okay. Gauges and KPI charts are really, really good. So high level, like, on a sales dashboard, sales per week, bam, variance to budget, bam, things like that, or a gauge for, how much of your tank is full. Your a sales rep, your target is, I don't know, 1 million and you've achieved 800,000. So your gauge is there. That it's nice stuff. But more, there's, I think, groundbreaking, which I'm going to talk about. There are some AI visuals, which I think is very good, where it's about a decomposition tree. So for example, how revenue is then broken down by cost of goods sold and gross profit, how, and net profit. How net profit is then you've got expenses and things like that. So you can have a decomposition tree, basically P&L, which looks very beautiful. At the same time, you can actually create insights of which channels and which products have got the highest correlation and things like that. So there is AI visuals in there, definitely worth exploring. There's Q&A and there is smart narrative. Smart narrative is basically automated commentary, which means Power BI writes the comments for you on your visual, and you can edit it. So that what happens means when you publish it like that, when your CFO or your finance director or your commercial people log in and start looking at it, they can see the comments, right, of what insights is being provided. So I think this is really a space to watch out. What I wanted to talk about in terms of visuals on this particular topic is get more visuals, which a lot of people may or may not be aware of. So this is like your app store. Okay, like your phone, everybody has a smartphone, you have an app store. You've got like gazillion amount of basically apps here which you can use. You don't like the gauge, you use some other gauge. Okay. I just saw a gauge which made me think of gauge. So there you go. So you can use a gauge like this if you choose to. Okay. I will be out there. We support basically Zebra BI. Zebra BI is really, really good because it helps me write commentary in Power BI. So Power BI, remember that, is basically a dashboarding tool. So generally inputs into Power BI directly are difficult. But with Zebra BI, I can actually write commentary. How does that help? Every month when you do a month-end pack, you do a PowerPoint. Then you have version 1. Then you have version 25. Then you have version 25 final. And then you have version 25 final version 1. You see, and then you don't know what comments I wrote last time, what has gone to the board. It's lost. Whereas if you do something like this, you have it in there. It's recorded in Power BI. It's always there. When you go through the slicer for the month or the year, it shows you what's your commentary for last month, what's your commentary 3 months back, what's your commentary for last 6 months. You could sit and have a quick refresher. I gave this journey for last 6 months to the customer, to my board or to my operational guys as a finance business partner. So now what do I want to tell them next? It's not like I have to look at 20 PowerPoint slides for me to figure that out. All that is also documented online for you to be able to refer to this later. Okay, so that is why we like tools like this, because again, the idea is you as a finance leader should be the commercial business partner. You as finance business partners should be able to add value. Your job is not to, go through 20 Excel books or 20 PowerPoint presentations. That's not where you add value. You add value is read the comments, read the insights, and then ask the right questions or provide right insights. So it's things like this also which are there, which again, and a lot of them are free. You'll be surprised. So this is not free. This is like £2 a month or something like that. But a lot of the others are free as well. We again tend to use. So if you see in my space as well, right? We tend to use. This is called simple waterfall. Instead of waterfall, which comes in Power BI as a default, we don't like it. It is very difficult to use. This is very easy to use. Even a non-finance person can use it very easily. So we again recommend that, and it's free. Nobody gets paid. I don't get paid. They don't get paid. It is completely free. So use that. It's things like that. It is about trying and, playing with stuff and finding out what visuals work for you. And this get more visuals means you have got a whole larger array of options, not just the ones here, and definitely much more than what you have in your Excel, basically visuals. Okay, so that's my visualization topic, which is the key point which I wanted to cover. There's a shop out there. Please go and look at it. Try it out. Don't try paid visuals if you don't want to, but at least try the free ones and see what you learn out of them. Okay. So as you can literally see, I have very, very few slides because I spent a whole lot of time basically in Power BI itself. With that, I think I have covered my agenda. I am now open for questions. That's obviously our website, which is where you will have the recording for today posted. That's my Calendly. A few people, I think Kanu has spoken to me. A few people on here have spoken to me previously. They know I am always happy to have a chat. You may not work with me. I will never chase you as a salesperson because I am not a salesperson. I'm a finance hardcore FP&A person at heart. Okay. What is the most important measure you should learn? If you were going to learn one measure, Dharam, I would say learn calculate. Okay. If you were going to learn one measure, I'd say learn calculate, SumX, SumX, CountX. These are three, I'd say minimum learn. Most of the measures that we use will have calculate in it, if I remember correctly. Now, this has been a while we've made this. I don't remember. See, there you go, calculate. You will see most of that we have, this is divide. A lot of the formulas are very similar to Excel again. So it's not like, you see, this has got actual budget and variance and everything. But you will end up using calculate function very often. Hence I said calculate. Sum is what I already said to you. So sum and calculate is what I would do. But then again, you can get quite complicated. So yeah. Any more questions? Please, last webinar as well. I got asked lots of questions. Please grill me. If I don't know, I will tell you honestly, I don't know. But otherwise ask. Do you teach other classes? I can teach. If I get a group of 5 people, I will happily teach from a beginner level. But I need at least 5 people. So if people organize themselves and you come with a group of 5, definitely I will be happy to teach. In fact, if you have attended my prior webinars like you have done today, and you want free training, I'll give you free training as well for 3 hours. One session, 3 hours free training, but I need 5 people. I will not do 1-to-1. Sorry, respectfully, but that's too time consuming for me. So if you've got 5 people, happily teach first session 3 hours for free, which will be very, very early, which gives you basic. I'll get you to build 5 measures. I'll get you to use 5 DAX formulae and things like that. Yeah, Doreen. So Doreen is interested. Dharam is interested. So you all can connect. Kanu is interested. So there you go. All of you are there. Get in touch with each other on LinkedIn. How do we come to your free session? I'm interested. Oh, wow. Okay. Drop me an email. Drop me a message on LinkedIn. Most of you are connected to me on LinkedIn. Message me on LinkedIn. I'll put a group of 5 together. Oh, there you go. We've got 6 people already. I can organize that happily. I will send out, if you message me on LinkedIn, I'll send out invite with first, vote, and then we can, whatever time and, day and time is convenient to most people, we will work that. But let me warn you right now, if I do this, it will be on a Friday, generally around 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Like so 12 to 3 or 3 to 6 UK time. I'm being very clear because Friday is generally my quiet day. So I'm happy to spend the afternoon teaching some Power BI. I'm in the US. Where in the US? East Coast or West Coast, Doreen? Because East, yeah, the East is not too bad, right? Then 1 o'clock. We'll start at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock is your 8 a.m. We can do 1 to 4. That's the option. Biggest pitfall who use Power BI with clients, I will be very frank with you, Dharam. The biggest pitfall I see is they don't use experienced people. Okay, literally this week I have spoken to somebody. They're like, oh, we were learning as we were implementing. Yes, I can do 3 to 6, Shaheen. Most likely we'll do 3 to 6. So US, even West Coast can get covered. So yes, Shaheen, we can do 3 to 6. Coming back to the clients, they don't use experienced people. They are wary that consultants like us cost an arm and a leg. We don't. In fact, it takes, let me tell you, it's more costly to learn yourself, implement wrong, and then redo it. Okay, that's more costly. And I can do the math for you. I'm a FP&A person. I can do the math, build a finance business case for you. It is better to involve people like us along with your team. We train, if I'm willing to teach you for free, right? Think of it that way. You're not even a client. If a client comes and tells me they just implement for me and teach my team along with it, what do you think I'm going to do? Of course, I'm going to teach. Okay. Yeah, slides. I can, again, please message me, Arthur, on LinkedIn. It is just easier to do it on LinkedIn. Otherwise, I will be collecting email addresses for everybody. And yes, you don't need to prepare for the training session when I do one. It will be blank. The only thing you need is be able to download Power BI desktop from Microsoft onto your laptop. Okay. Can you move the cursor so I can see the name? Oh, sorry. I apologize. There you go. That's my profile name on LinkedIn. So send me a connection request. Happy to connect. Always, I share constant insights. In fact, hopefully by next week, we'll have another ebook on our website on basically how to implement Power BI. For example, what is a checklist when you're implementing Power BI? We currently have how FP&A and Power BI work together. There is an ebook. It is free. You can download it, have a look, and you don't like it, tell me. Okay, you like it, tell others. You don't like it, tell me. I will happily take criticism of how we can do better and how we can help you guys better. Because essentially that's the purpose, right? It's free resources on the website. And my introduction to Power BI for beginners is already on the website. If you have missed it on 13th of September, go and look. Okay, honestly, we spent 1 hour, 15 minutes. We got like 20 minutes of questions. We had a lot of fun. It was quite entertaining, to be honest. So yeah, please do. Do you think Power BI is here for long term, or do you think it will be done after a few years? I'd be surprised. Power BI really started catching on from 16, 17. Microsoft is backing it. Every month you will see Microsoft is investing in R&D on it and releasing new features. So I look at what the parent company is doing. And obviously a parent company is Microsoft, big name enough. They have enough resources. Just like that is why we don't do the other one. What is the other one? What is the other option is there? No, Power BI. Forget the name, man. What is the BI dashboard? Can somebody remind me? I don't forgot.
ClickView, ClickSense.
Sorry, what did you say? ClickView and?
ClickSense is there. Tableau is there.
Tableau. So Tableau is bought by basically Salesforce, but Salesforce has not really developed Tableau or invested in Tableau for last 2-3 years that they have owned it. Okay, whereas when I look at a product, I look at what is the parent company doing with it. And
ClickSense is ClickView and ClickSense is a big one, Tejas.
Yeah, ClickSense is quite good. I'm not going to criticize that at all. I am just saying I like Power BI more. I apologize, but yeah, I am biased on that one. So, but because the thing is, it helps me bring data from different sources, right? Which is one thing which I really love, and it is just very value for money, man. £7.50 per head. How can you go wrong with it?
Yeah, that's the most popular one as well.
You lose £7.50. If you go wrong, you lose £7.50, which is cost less than the cost of coffee per head in an office. So, it's just no money.
Tejas, can I ask a question? Because I couldn't find the comment box to type it in, question box. I want to ask you, if we use a Google product as our web-based, can we still use Microsoft?
No. Then there is Google Analytics. You can use Google. If you have got data in Google Sheets, you can still bring it into Power BI. Yes. There is a drop down to directly connect to Google Sheets, just like Excel. And there are certain Google products you can directly connect to from Power BI. Yes. How do you see the beginner's video on my website? Shouldn't be that difficult. I thought we made it easy. We made a new website just to make it easy for you. Let's look. Okay, this is our website. There.
Congratulations on the new website. It looks nice.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Honestly, took a lot of effort. The guys did really, really well. So there you go. You go to Insights, you go to Webinars. This is Introduction to Power BI for Financial Analysts, 13th September. View all events. So you will see, and the today's one will go on here as well. So you will have in a week or so right here. Shine, I'm showing you, it is on the website. There. Insights, views and events, and view all events. And the ebook that I was talking to you about. So again, obviously this is a new website, so stuff is getting populated, but you see data-driven FP&A playbook, ultimate guide for Power BI and FP&A, and a new one will come, which is checklist for implementing Power BI and FP&A. The 3 hour, if I do a 3 hour for 3 to 6, if I get enough people, it is free. So Vinod, it is free, but only that is free, and it is very basic. It doesn't give me job insecurity. I will show you how to use Power BI and get data in it and manipulate it and stuff like that. We'll kind of partly build this. We'll partly build this. That's the purpose of that 3 hour program.
So what will be the next level of program?
After that, if you want to do more than that, is like basically good 12 to 15 hours is what you spend with me, where we then actually build the whole thing and more. Then that is a paid one that I will charge. I will not spend 15 hours teaching for free. I apologize. Uma, absolutely. I will. If anybody who is interested in the free Power BI 3 hours, just drop me a message on LinkedIn. I will send out an email to all those people. I will give out options on days and times. I think 3 to 6 is the best time because most people should be able to make it. Thank you, Doreen. I will respond to you after this webinar. So we'll send out a poll, and then as long as I get at least 5-7 people, I'll do it. I've done 3 of them in April, May, and June. So happily, sharing knowledge is always helpful. Any more? Sounds like the 3 hour program is quite popular. Good. We'll put something together. I think Gaurav is still here, or has he left? Gaurav, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
So then the people are very interested in the 3 hour program. Huh? So we have to start preparing for it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any more questions? Look, if you have more questions, if you think of them later, when you see the recording, you see my introduction to Power BI recording, and you think of questions, ping me. Most people who know me, they know I will be on LinkedIn almost 24/7. So look at this recording, look at today's recording again, read the ebooks, ask questions, and let's engage. Let's make FP&A more automated. Let's stop copy pasting data from one place to another. That's the only thing I ask of people. I just would like FP&A to stop doing that. If you work with us, work with anybody else, work with any other consulting company you like, but just stop copy pasting data, man. Cool. Any more questions? Anybody? Otherwise, I'm going to close this call. Nadia, please just drop me, because respectfully, if all of you are messaging, it is very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for me to remember this. So it is better you message me on LinkedIn. I will get organized, make a nice list, and I will get a group together. Very happily teach. In fact, I will do a 3 to 6 UK time so we can cover the West Coast as well. If somebody from West Coast is interested. Of the US, obviously. While it is not too bad a time in India as well, I think it is 3 o'clock is 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. It's not too bad. Cool. Any more for any more? If you like what you heard, tell others. If you don't like, tell me. I will happily improve next time. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to all of you on LinkedIn. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Tejas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tejas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Tejas.
Thank you.
Thank you.